Alright, hey there everybody, my name is DemonicRobots and welcome to Clock Tower 3. This is an old school survival horror game by Capcom. If you haven't heard of these guys, well, that's a little weird, but we're gonna get started right here. This is one of my favorite games of all time. I absolutely love this game, and yeah, we're gonna get going here in just a second, but yeah, I am going to be doing this solo. I do not have any commentators with me, unfortunately, so I will be doing my best. There might be a couple of pauses here and there, but hopefully everything works out. We're going to get started right now, though. Time is going to start when I hit new on the new game. So yeah, let's get going. Time is going to start in 3, 2, 1, go. So Clock Tower 3 is going to follow the story of a young girl named Alyssa who is away at boarding school, and what ends up happening is her one of her family members gives her a call. Her mother says, hey, whatever you do, do not come back home for your birthday, okay? Do not come back home. So the very first thing that Alyssa does is comes back home. Her mother is missing. We do not know where she actually is. We need to find her, and that is going to be the opening plot of this game, is we are trying to find our missing mother. And as you can see, stuff is already going wrong. We have a magical seal on the door. But yeah, if you haven't played this game, it is directed by, or the cutscenes are actually directed by somebody that is not the game director. They are directed by an actual movie director in Japan. I don't know how to pronounce his name, so I'm not going to try and butcher it. But essentially, the person who did the Battle Royale film is the one who made these cutscenes. So we're not going to be watching any of the cutscenes, but don't worry, there's still plenty of bad to go around. But if you want to see some very interesting early 2000s motion capture, this is the game for that. So we're gonna get introduced to a couple of mechanics here. The first mechanic we're gonna get introduced to is the panic meter. This game doesn't have a health bar, it has a panic meter, meaning that whenever you either take damage or you actually even just have an enemy swing close enough to you, it'll slowly fill your panic bar. And if you get fully panicked, then you will lose control of Alyssa for a little bit. She won't like really respond to your actions. She'll sometimes stand still, and what ends up happening is if you get hit in that stage, then that is what game overs you. We're also gonna get this. This is our water bottle. This is really important to the run. Essentially, it is the way that we do things like unlock seals, complete puzzles, and also protect ourselves from bad guys. So we're gonna head into our mother's room. We're gonna go over onto her PC. And what's going to end up happening is we're actually going to end up in a little bit of a different spot, you know. There is some magic in this game. If you played the previous Clock Towers or are familiar with them at all, typically you picture a slow, serious adventure game where you're getting chased by a man and giant scissors. However, that's not going to be the case here, because we just teleported from early 2000s England to the 1940s London during World War II. You're probably wondering, how did we travel space and time to a completely different part of the world at a completely different time period? And the answer is, I have absolutely no idea. This game does have a lot of time travel and space travel and all that jazz, and it kind of just flings the player around for the ride. The cutscenes do not really give any context. Also, there's ghosts now. Totally normal. We actually want to help these ghosts. They are lost souls who are looking for a specific object that will help them move on to the afterlife. Some of these are optional. There are other ones that are required, like this ghost. We come over their body basically, and we use a certain item of importance on them. That'll help them move on to the afterlife. So very wholesome. Gonna grab this as a security item. This is a sigil stone. Sigil stones will essentially make it so if you are in the panic state and you get hit, it'll protect you from dying. So it's basically like an extra life. So we're going to be introduced to the main mechanic of this game, which is going to be the chasing areas. So whenever you are getting chased in this game, typically it is by a variety of characters, and essentially we need to play this very tight. This run is not super difficult. If you make a mistake and you die, then you get, you know, an ample amount of checkpoints and all that jazz. However, we want to try and avoid that. So the main core of this game is going to be taking very focused lines and trying to avoid things like grabs right there or enemy swings. There is a little bit of RNG when it comes to this. Sometimes enemies will like to be very rude to you, and sometimes they will let you go. Also, we can throw water through walls. That's a very noticeable feature. Basically, with the water throws, whenever you throw water, if you throw them at specific angles involving like where the camera is placed, your water will go a little bit farther, and it can kind of go through walls as well. And it kind of also usually likes to auto lock towards whatever target you are attempting to throw water at. Water throws are very important. We only get a set amount of charges, and refilling our water usually means that we have to go out of our way. So we are always very careful with our water, because if you throw it, like even one water at the wrong spot, it can cost you a lot of time. So we're going to be trying to do our best with those as we continue on here. We are currently in Norton's Tailor. Basically, this is a tailor shop where there was a former soldier and his daughter who lived here. And we're going to get introduced to them in this opening cutscene. But basically, we also are introduced to the main bad guy of the section, Sledgehammer. Great guy. Definitely not a evil maniacal killer. And yeah, this is going to be the introduction to chasing. Basically, these guys are going to be trying to murder us as best as they can, which, of course, isn't very good for us. So we're going to get through all these menus. We're going to head up to a maze room. Maze room is going to give us a invitation to the opera house where we're going to, and the first couple of levels of this game are basically us trying to help more spirits move on. You saw that we did that earlier. However, that one was not nearly as complicated as it is for May. We need to do a little bit more work to help her head on over into the afterlife. This is also where the game teaches us about evade points. Evade points are one-time uses where you will use a object or do something in order to incapacitate the chaser if you get trapped in a corner. So you don't see it in the cutscene, but Alyssa basically football tackles into the ground, and as you can see, that big dude is down for the count. So I don't know if she was a linebacker in her former past life or something like that to be able to take down a 300-pound evil dude by just pushing him, but you know, I'm not going to question it. We're also going to come over here. This is lavender water. It will greatly reduce the amount of panic you have, as well as prevent panic that you might acquire later on. So now we're heading to the opera house. As you can see, we are going to be getting chased by our boy Sledgehammer. We're gonna get to the water refill section. It's gonna be right over here. Like I said, water is very important, and we don't really get a lot of water to spare in a lot of areas. We do get more charges as the game goes on, as we defeat enemies. However, at this very beginning section, we basically have no water, so we have to be very careful with our uses and make sure that we don't use it in any bad spot. Otherwise, things can go wrong quickly. So now we are heading inside of the opera house. We're going to be finding May on the piano doing some ghost things. And this is going to be kind of the main section where we're going to be continuing the rest of the level. We're going to run into Sledgehammer. So hopefully I get some good luck and he doesn't swing at me with a horizontal swipe, but he does the vertical. That's good. The reason we want him to do the vertical is because then I don't take any panic. If he does his horizontal swipe, then I do. So we're gonna move this. Basically, this game has a kind of a weird thing where basically like all the codes and everything like that are exactly the same. Like they're always the same solution. So we can see right here, this is gonna be the code. So it's the 103. However, if you don't pick up that note, Alyssa has no idea how to do the code. So even though I know that the code is 103 because it's that every single time, and I have, you know, hundreds of hours in this game, I still can't access the code. Oh, we might get hit here. No, we're fine. He is a little bit closer to the door than I like, so hopefully this doesn't cause any problems.
Where are you?
Right, 1, 0, 3. Master key right there. All right, he didn't do the weird run that he sometimes does, where he just kicks right behind the counter after me. Oh, is he in front of me? No, we're okay. Basically, the entire section, Sledgehammer has some consistent patterns and behaviors that he does. However, there are always random patterns that the enemies can give, and they can kind of seriously mess your day up. So we're gonna come out here. Example: this game has a couple of jump scares that it likes to do. We're trying to catch a player off guard, but you can't catch me off guard. I played this game 300 times. So he's gonna drop back down, and yeah, we're gonna get through this area as quickly as we can. We have to be careful. We run very, very slowly on stairs, so I want to make sure that I'm not getting hit there. You guys are gonna get introduced to something. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna come over here, we're gonna throw the sigil, and because he gets to us before that door opens, we're just gonna open this locker. And as you can see, he is so paralyzed with shock that we would just open a locker randomly right in front of him that he won't attack us. And this is a very common thing, is whenever you're in specific camera angles, that's what decides whether or not you are safe. So because we are at a camera angle where the game deemed us safe, Sledgehammer literally just stands there doing absolutely nothing, and it cannot hurt us at all. So this is a common core gameplay loop in the game, is basically we will spend the game going through areas trying to find very mundane items to help us continue on. So there we found some matches, and we're all doing this for a bunch of for some rusty pliers. We're gonna hit him. As you can see, whenever you hit an enemy with water, it'll stun them. This is very important later on. Especially in a lot more later areas. As you can see, my panic meter is pretty high right now. However, with the way that we do this run, we manage it pretty well, and we have some backup items.
You're mine now.
So typically you'll see me at a lot of times where I'm like, that bar is 99.9% filled, but we don't get set into panic. Which makes it like very important to take very good lines in this game and kind of like go through areas and be very careful. This is another example of this where we want to get as close to the couch as we can. There we go. And hopefully we get some good RNG here. If he stops on the stairwell for even like 0.2 seconds, then we get good RNG and we don't have to use an extra water. He did not, because he's a jerk, so we're gonna turn around, splash him in the face. And now we are coming up to my least favorite part of the run, is the plank. The plank, you have a random chance of stumbling. It's technically not random, but you would have to get like the perfect seed, you would have to get you basically have to play frame perfectly from the very moment you boot up your console, and this is already not looking good. Typically 4 is good. Is like the average RNG. 3 is really good. 2 is godlike. Supposedly someone has seen 1 stumble. However, I have never seen that in all of my time of playing this game, so I do not know how true that is or not. And then of course 5 and 6 and I think even 7 are really bad luck. We've had 2, 3. I'm not liking this. It'll literally continue stumbling you until the very end. I've actually like stumbled at the very last possible pixel. Alright, hopefully we'll get any more. Please, game. Please be kind to us. There we go. Okay, we got good RNG. That was actually, well, not good RNG. We got average RNG. which is still good RNG, all things considered. But here we are, we have the items that we need. So now we're gonna be heading back to Morton's Taylor. This is gonna be a very long run back. So you're probably wondering, you know, is this the entire game is only doing these soccer chases? And the answer to that is no. There's actually a lot of boss fights. So we're gonna be fighting Sledgehammer here in a moment. He's gonna continue chasing after us, but it is impossible for him to catch up. So. But yeah, we're going to be confronting Sledgehammer. And you're probably wondering, you know, Alyssa, you know, she's pretty strong. She could football tackle him, no problem. But we can't really go toe-to-toe with him. So we kind of need something to give us an advantage. And one of the lore things about this game is Alyssa is something called a rooter. A rooter is a young girl who can fight against evil with magical powers. I mean, we've already seen it, you know, she has a holy water bottle that will stun enemies and do all that jazz. Basically the same thing with finding ghosts, is whenever she helps ghosts of immense power, she can access more of her powers, basically. So we're going to be getting a new power to fight off Sledgehammer, and it's pretty exciting. If you've ever seen Sailor Moon, you're going to enjoy this quite a bit. So we're going to head down here. Fun fact, we cannot actually open the door until Sledgehammer does his very dramatic entrance into the building. There we go. Some barbed wire that we're going to cut with these pliers, and it's going to open this up. So now we did, you know, we ran all the way to the opera house, we ran all the way back here, and now we're going to go run all the way back again. But first we're going to pick up this. That is a repellent arrow. Those are going to be very important later on. And here we go, we get some flashbacks. Basically that cutscene shows May with her father, and then it shows her father dying brutally in the trenches of, I think, World War II. It's a really jarring cut, and this game definitely tried to like go for a little bit too much drama, I think, because it shows like this happy child and her father like, oh May, you're such a good pianist, like you're doing such a great job with your music, you're really talented, and then just cuts to like World War II. It's great. Unfortunately we can't show all the cutscenes. If we did, it would be an hour long, because like I said, this was actually, the cutscenes were directed by a movie director, so they're completely separate. I would highly recommend watching like a video on YouTube that has all the cutscenes. I think we should have some time later on. I might be able to show off a bonus cutscene. It's one of the community favorites. But first we have some business to attend to, and that is to defeat a Sledgehammer. So you're probably wondering how we're going to do that, and the answer is with the holy water bottle that we have. We're just not going to use it in the way that we've been using it already. So we've been using it, you know, kind of like a water bottle, holding water, throwing it in people's faces, you know, just general shenanigans. Instead of using it as a water bottle, you know, that's kind of boring. Don't really want to do that. So we're instead going to basically summon the ancient powers of the rooters and use it as a bow. And you're probably wondering, how does a water bottle turn into a bow? Well, if I ever find the answer out to that, I will tell you. So what we're gonna do right here is we're gonna fade out the attack right here. Okay, Sledgehammer is not playing games, so I'm trying to get him. There we go. So I need to get a certain amount of charges on my bow to do what I'm doing right here, where I'm getting him kind of stuck on a leash. I need to do this a certain amount of times to do a super attack. Every single boss has their own pattern, style, and way to do this. Whenever I am aiming down with my bow, however, I am not actually able to look at any other direction. I have to like look forward, and it automatically attaches me to the to the bad guy. Also, this is how we defeat enemies. summoning giant bows or arrows of light and then bringing down a mega death laser from space. And now a sledgehammer is dead and is turned into a piece of jewelry, the clover of love. He loves you, Chad. But yeah, that is Sledgehammer. Sledgehammer, you know, we're gonna miss ya, not really, but we're gonna continue on here. Now that we have defeated Sledgehammer, we can give May her father's pocket watch and help her move on to the afterlife. Again, if you've seen this game, this cutscene is probably one of my favorites that we're gonna have to unfortunately skip. But yeah, let's just say this game definitely deserves a spot in Big Bad Game-a-thon. So now we are back home, back in reality, so to speak, or at least our own time period. And we meet Dennis. Dennis is Discount Ron Weasley. We won't be seeing him very much. He does have a gameplay appearance later on. However, he's mostly going to be restricted to cutscenes. But we found a key now to our grandfather's room, or at least his office. Our grandfather is someone who we dearly beloved and has been missing for a little while as well. So we have our mother who's missing recently, our grandfather who's also been missing. This is starting to become a common theme in Alyssa's family. We're gonna grab those right there. Those are the winding keys. We need that for a puzzle. This section between now and the next chaser is a little boring and kind of just a very like auto stroller section almost, where we're kind of just trying to do a bunch of different stuff. It is amazing how Alyssa likes to abuse the powers of time and space travel in order to do very mundane things and find very simple items. You know, you think if you're going to travel back in time, you're going to use that power responsibly and to, like, you know, make major changes. Instead, she does it to do things like find film and stuff like that. So we have a little puzzle right here. There we go. So this is going to open up basically a hidden room that, again, Alyssa had no idea about her entire life of growing up here. But I will talk about a little bit more about the plot after I throw these down to create a summoning portal, which will allow us to travel through space and time again, this time to, I think, the 1960s is where the game takes us. But, yeah, this is, again, going to be a very common thing. So we're going to do that to activate it. You need 2 water throws to activate a portal, and you need to do both sides, so a total of 4 for every portal that we need to go through. I'm also going to find more ghosts. There's a lot of ghosts in this section, but they're pretty easy to avoid. I've always said to myself that if I ever get grabbed by this blue ghost, I'm going to quit running the game because it's very easy to dodge. So far it hasn't happened yet. I'm sure I'll eat my words one day. But here we go. We are introduced to our next victims. I cannot remember their names for the life of me, but basically they are a mother and son who were both blinded in a horrible accident and are now eternally looking for each other, and we need to fix that. We kind of get like this little cutscene hallway here where there's just a lot of mashing and cutscenes that we have to skip on through. You also want to be very careful because pausing in this game does count towards the timer, and you actually lose a lot of time whenever you pause because, you know, this is a old PS2 game where loading your inventory takes 30 minutes. So we want to try and avoid mashing as much as possible. We're gonna come right here. Is random which prompt that arrow is over. Sometimes it's over the yes, sometimes it's over the no. We got the bad luck, but that is relatively normal. So we're gonna head down here through another secret compartment. And basically what's gonna happen is we're gonna find a body of a photographer, and a photographer who, keep in mind, he has been anguishing and tormented as a living ghost spectral being right there for who knows how long, a long time. And he needs something to move on. He needs something very important and very dear to him. You know, earlier in the game, we found a person who was killed, going to propose to their lover, and like we gave them their engagement ring. That's a very sentimental and important thing to a ghost, is an engagement ring. You know, that's something that makes sense. So I want you to try to guess what this photographer needs in order to move on. Like, one of the most important things to him in the world. But we need to head back to the abandoned house because we need to find the item there, and it's actually in that spot. We're also going to get a cutscene where we see our mom for just a glimpse, just for half a second. Can't really do anything with her. Still missing. Still don't know where she is, but we do get to see a bit of her. Also, we get to see Alyssa's extendo arm. So as you can see, the item pickup range can be pretty generous. That's not the worst case. There are a couple that are actually even worse, but just so you know, we have a very generous range that we can pick up things. Also, I will say, as for the music is literally one of the most hit or miss soundtracks of any video game I have ever played in my entire life. There are some that are absolute spooky bangers, and then there are some of them where I'm pretty sure the musician had tinnitus. So keep that in mind. I actually like this track a little bit. It really sets the mood for the game. And there's some really good tracks. I think the chasing music and the boss music is like absolutely top tier. But there's some music that is really, really bad. Like, when it's good, but when it's bad, it's horrendous. But we're gonna return into her grandfather's office. We're gonna open up his desk. We're gonna find a couple of things in here. We learned more about entities and how they work. Entities are basically the main protagonist, not what Sledgehammer was. Sledgehammer was what's considered a subordinate. He's what works for the entity. But entities and rooters constantly are in turmoil and battling against each other for some reason. But keep in mind, that is a very important plot piece. But there we go. That was the object that this ghost needs. A ghost, you know, only cares about his profession and his job. So as a photographer, the thing that he needs is film. Film from a completely different time period that probably doesn't work in his camera from the 1960s compared to the early 2000s. But, you know, I guess beggars can't be choosers. So yeah, we just basically abused time and space to run back home because we forgot to pick up something. That's basically what happened to Alyssa. She's like, ah, crap, I forgot my film at home, and you know, teleported to a completely different dimension in order to retrieve it. And now we're gonna go back and do the same exact thing. Alyssa doesn't really make that many good choices in this game. I don't want to insult her, but she's not very smart. She likes to do things like, you know, when your mother calls you and says, whatever you do, no matter what happens, do not come home, and the very first thing you do is rush home as quickly as possible, you do not have very good critical thinking skills. But it's okay, we still love Alyssa. She is a badass, and yeah. Another thing to note is that she is turning 15 soon. So she's 14 here right now. She's gonna be turning 15 in a little while. That is integral to the plot, actually. That is a very important detail. Because that means that she will be at the height of her rooter powers. That is a part of the lore, is around 15 is when they start to get them and be at their most powerful, and then it slowly wanes off. Also, I just want to mention this game has actually a very, very good in-game timer that keeps track of everything you do. So you think, why would you need to time this game in RTA? And the answer to that is whenever you beat the game and you do your save file save and access clear mode, and instead of showing you the final result, it just rolls back your timer to 0. So we actually can't see our final game time. Also, the reason we did all of that is to move a painting right here that already looks like it needs to be moved in order to unlock that door. Makes perfect sense. But here we go. You know what? I think chat, I think you've been pretty good. I think chat deserves a little treat. I'm gonna let you watch this cutscene. It's a very wholesome cutscene between a mother and her son. That's what we're about here in speedrunning, especially horror games, is very wholesome things. So I'm gonna let you guys watch this, and I'll be quiet for it.
Albert.
Mother, what are you doing? I told you shouldn't wander around outside by yourself.
I came to tell you that dinner's ready. And I told you that you don't need to be worried about me. Your old mother may have dicky eyes, but she's not on her last legs yet. You just concentrate on your work. Anyway, what is it you're making this time? Some new toy that'll have the local kids agog, I bet.
Actually, I've been busy making this.
Aw, he made his mom a shawl. That's so sweet.
I don't want you catching.
This is so wholesome, chat. I love this.
I'm making this in my spare time. How is it? Warm enough?
It's lovely. So warm and soft.
Aw.
Thank you.
It's so cute. It's so sweet. Oh no.
That's enough playing happy families. You make me sick.
Oh, not the toys.
How do you like the acid bath? May you both be blinded and search for each other in vain for all eternity.
So if you didn't believe me before about the cutscenes, I hope this is evidence that I wasn't lying to you, chat. But here we go. This is the second chaser. This is Corrode. And yeah, Corrode is kind of a jerk. He has a very long range attack, and he's actually the hardest subordinate in the entire game. I'm not even joking. He is the most random. He has some very difficult sections where he can just be a jerk and ruin your run. And the boss fight is also the most random and the hardest one. Like, typically later on, we have a couple of strategies to fight some of the harder bosses that involve very precise shots. With Corrode, the only thing that we can do is pray. So we're gonna head over here, and if you remember, Alyssa can throw water through walls, so we're gonna be doing that again to hit. Oh no, that's not great, but it's okay. Let's go for the refill later. As you can see, though, throwing water through walls is the thing that we can do to hit enemies. This is also gonna be another thing. Whenever enemies are kind of entering into a room, they are kind of locked into that animation. So we're gonna wait right here, wait for him to start coming in, and we can just run right past him. You have to be a little careful there, though, because if you do it early, then you actually get hit by him, which isn't great. So I have to be very, very careful about that. I'm gonna grab some water right here for safety. So this is the hardest line in the entire game. It's completely random how he comes out of the store. We got hit. That's not amazing, but it should be fine. So now we know what the item that we need. Dorothy, that's the mother's name. We need to find Dorothy's shawl in order to help her. Here, and we also need to be kind of careful about those butterflies. If those butterflies touch you, when I was playing this game for the very first time, you think, oh, butterflies, that's like very sweet. They look like they would help me. No, if a butterfly touches you, it stuns you. And I thought it was going to help me, give me an extra life, maybe another water refill, something useful. No, in my first game, I ran right into it and it killed me. Because, you know, I really associate butterflies with working with, you know, evil serial killers. That seems pretty accurate. I gotta walk over these planks. Thankfully, you cannot stumble on these. It's just you have to choose the right one, and the right one is always the one that is longer and farther away. Right up until this last one. There we go. Got the shawl, and now we have the very important item that we can return to Dorothy. But first, we have the boss fight against Corrode. Corrode's boss fight is the most random and the hardest. Again, every single other boss kind of has a very specific strategy that we do that prevents it from being random. However, that's not the case with Mr. Corrode here. Corrode, again, very much a jerk. We should be able to get here just in time. Also, there's another thing. If you are in this, like, door thing, enemies will not hit you. They are very polite when letting you go through doors. But here we go. It's time for the Corrode boss fight. He is like the first like really hard boss because he has ranged attacks. He can, you know, hit you from a far distance. But the absolute most dangerous thing that this guy can do is sidestep you, because when you aim at him, you are locked into that angle and you have to fire your shot. So if he walks to the right or left while you are doing this, you cannot hit him. You also notice how I have to charge up my wands here.
Prepare to die.
The way that you know how you have the right amount of charges, you basically need 6 charges. Oh no, he walked left. Oh no, okay, this is fine. We're gonna have to block that. The only way that we can interrupt the attacks is if we hit him with at least a 3 charged arrow. And that will interrupt him.
Prepare to die.
Prepare to die. I don't think so. Oh, we got the early bind. That's not great. So normally you have to like bind them like 5 or 6 times and it does a lot of damage. However, if you get it into like a kind of a triangle, it'll do this attack early. And because this animation is unskippable, we don't want to do it twice. So we have to be a little bit careful here for time's sake. Oh, he's going all the way around. That's fine though.
There she is.
There she is.
Prepare to die.
Prepare to die. We want to hear that. That's a good thing. That's not gonna hit. Oh, come on, walk back.
There she is.
Fuck. Oh, excuse me.
There she is.
No, I'm not there. I'm not anywhere. I'm not gonna prepare to die. All right, I'll be able to get a little bit closer. There we go.
There she is.
Almost dead.
There she is. Prepare to die.
And this should be the last shot. Nice. All right. Corrode was actually a little bit better than I expected. Sometimes Corrode can be very mean. He can hit you with weird angles. He can do a lot of stuff to basically just ruin your day. But there we go. We defeated him and he explodes into a piece of jewelry. Again, like Sledgehammer. And they match too. It's very sweet. But yeah, now that we have defeated Corrode, we can move on. And yeah, we're going to be heading over into the next area. Again, there's another really good cutscene here. Unfortunately, we don't have time to show it. I wish I could show every cutscene in this game because they're all fantastically bad. This is one of my favorite games of all time. For like a cutscenes being a good chunk of that. Oh, there we go. We have returned the shawl to May, reunited her with her, or I'm sorry, to Dorothy, reunited her with her son, and we return home. However, it's very short-lived as that man named the Dark Man destroys our entire house. Absolutely just destroys everything in our home and turns it into a gigantic clock tower. And that's where the clock tower is in the name Clock Tower. And again, you're probably wondering, what does this game have to do with Clock Tower? If you don't know, Clock Tower is a known adventure game series where it involves a Jennifer or Helen if you're playing the second one or the first American one. You're chased by a guy with gigantic scissors. You have to hide from him. It's point and click. You have to solve puzzles. Well, they decided to do a radically different game, Capcom. They licensed this out from a company called Sunsoft. And yeah, they put a surprising amount of budget into this game. Also, we're going to be introduced to the next subordinate or chaser enemy already. This is Chopper. Chopper's my favorite because he has my most favorite fun fact, which is the voice actor in the cutscenes is completely different than the voice actor during gameplay. They are literally just two different people with two completely different voices and styles. But yeah, Chopper is very, very dangerous, so we have to be very careful here. I need to be very good with my movement, otherwise this could be a problem because we don't really get a water refill. So yeah, he is very dangerous. He has the first like really large ranged attack that can hit us. It's basically a Beyblade. And overall, just is a very big nuisance. We have to run past him a lot, so it's really just, you know, not the greatest. So he's gonna spawn right behind us. This is normal. I'm gonna try and get him up against this wall because we need to run back, so we want to run around him and don't want him in the center. So right now we are trying to power a electric door and find a key card in order to access it. So those are our two objectives in this area. Also, again, very polite subordinate letting us go through here, through the door without any issue. So he's going to pop up right behind us, so I don't want to mash this kind of too hard, because otherwise you are not close enough to the box, and you pick it up, and then he hits you, which isn't great, so... that's not great. That's not also great. Okay, we're fine. Leave me alone, Chopper. Oh, you hit me there? Okay, that's fine. Again, the AI is random. Sometimes they can work with us and be very, very friendly. Other times they like to really ruin our day. So it's kind of just whatever vibe they're feeling for the day. So we have a little puzzle right here that we have to do in order to properly restore the connections. There we go. That should power the door. Now we should find the key card in order to open it. Okay, I'm gonna stand right here because basically, you know, angles in this game are a little wonky. So I wanted to make sure that I'm not running directly into him and taking another hit, because that would not have been good. So here we go. This is the most relatable ghost. This ghost needs another object, of course, that they need to be reunited with. They need to find their glasses. And as the glasses wearer, I understand that, you know, the glasses are very important. The thing about this is there's his body. There's the glasses. So this poor ghost has been haunting the world for who knows how long, trying to find their glasses, and they were 5 feet away. I've nicknamed this ghost Velma, because that is the most relatable thing, is trying to find my glasses, searching for a embarrassingly long amount of time, only for them to be like 2 feet away. But there we go. We have the key card now. And we're gonna throw that at us. Barely avoid getting sent into a panic. That is what we have the lavender water for, though. Lavender water, again, will get rid of panic immediately versus having to let it go down naturally. And typically when you are getting chased by a bad guy while you are panicked, you are most likely going to die. There are kind of some weird benefits to panic. For example, when you are panicking, you run upstairs faster. However, because eventually Alyssa will just stop moving completely and can't do anything, like can't interact with objects or use water, we don't try and do it like on purpose. Also, we got good RNG, I think. Yeah, we did. Sometimes he'll spawn in front of us here and we have to use 2 water throws to hit him. However, he was very kind there and only needed, or is only going to make us hit him once. So we're gonna go for him here. There, and we're gonna go right on past. So the Chopper 1 fight, we have to fight him twice. Chopper 1 fight is one of the easier fights, I guess, because you don't need to deplete his health bar completely. So you only need to bind him a single time, and you're in a small arena, so hopefully it goes well. But first we're gonna do some extendo arms. So I mentioned earlier that Alyssa has a very good range in order to pick up things. And we want that repelling arrow, but you know, walking all the way over there, walking out from under the stairs, it's a little slow. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna come up the stairs and there we go. We're just gonna pick up the arrow all the way from under here. I guess she like gets a little like fishing wire and kind of hooks the the arrow through the stairboard, but yeah. Also, we're back home, but home is a little bit different. It turns out we actually went back in time again to when we were born. And what we learn in this upcoming cutscene is our grandfather, our dearly beloved missing grandfather, actually murdered our father when we were a baby. It's very surprising at this time because we're like, oh no, it's our nice grandfather, he's great, and he killed our dad. So that causes a lot of internal conflict for Alyssa. And kind of hints that we might find out some things about our grandfather that we don't really want to find out. So we got our fight now coming up here. We want him to not run at us. We want him to slowly walk towards us. It's not great, but we still hit him.
You can't get away!
Oh, this might actually be okay, I think. Let's see. No. That's fine.
Come on!
As long as we can keep on hitting him, I think we should be okay.
You can't get away! Come on! You can't get away!
Should be one more. Yep, and there we go. That was Chopper 1. So of course, would it be a clock tower game without a rapid transition to another dimension? Of course not. So now we're in a cemetery. I have no idea what time period this is in. Also, fair warning, you do not have tinnitus. That is just the soundtrack for this game. I don't know why they made it literally one of the worst songs I've ever heard, but this is absolutely terrible. It feels like I have a mosquito buzzing in my ear for 5 minutes. So just a fair warning in that regard. We're also going to pick up this for safety. There we go. So now we are heading over to the mausoleum. The mausoleum is where we're actually going to find some of Alyssa's ancestors. Alyssa's ancestors, though, are not very happy being ghosts, and, you know, honestly, that's understandable. I wouldn't be happy if I was a ghost either, missing my stone. So that is what we need to do. We need to move around a bunch of these stones in order to match them up with the right ghost. So we have a red ghost here, we have a yellow ghost there. If you play Pac-Man, this should be familiar territory for you. But yeah, this is going to be kind of a very simple area. We're also going to pick up more of the repellent arrows. We haven't used them yet, but we'll use our first one here in a second at the next boss fight. The repellent arrows will act as a kind of a really powerful hit, and it'll also immediately, or it'll also like knock them back. Where's this ghost? What do we grab? Oh, no, he turned around. It's not great. I want to try avoiding using as much holy water as I can. Because if I can use a little amount, we don't need to refill an extra time. Oh, we're gonna have to hit them right there. Okay. Well, now we're definitely gonna need a refill, but that's fine. So another thing about this puzzle is we can only carry one of these stones at a time. I'm sure there's a very good lore reason for it. I just don't know it. There we go. That is one ghost down. Pick up another one of these repellent arrows. Okay, that guy went back too. Weird. Again, this game likes to throw a lot of patterns at you, and there's like 1 in 1,000 patterns where you're just like get some weird stuff to have happen, and it always throws me off. Like normally the ghosts will follow you, they won't continue down this hallway. Let him slowly walk forward a little bit. It's very easy to dodge their attacks, however sometimes they can be a bit of a nuisance. There we go, that's the second ghost, only one left. And again, I do apologize, this is kind of a very silent area. And you get this this lovely soundtrack. Which definitely isn't a good song. Like I said earlier, there's some good music, and then there is this track. And this track is just goes on for way too long. But we're almost done. I'm gonna head down this way. I'm gonna try and avoid using a water here. I might get hit. I'll just take the hit. Thankfully, this upcoming section in the game is normally the hardest section in the entire run. However, usually we only have 2 items to help prevent us from dying. And here we have probably like 4 or 5. I think we have like 3 holy waters, an invisible ring, and a sigil stone. So we're in a pretty good position for this area. But there we go. So that is the first part of the cemetery done. Now we need to head over towards the graveyard. The graveyard is where we're actually going to learn. Unfortunate news is that Alyssa's mom has died, has been killed by Chopper. And we're not very happy about that. So now it is time for Alyssa to take a little bit of revenge. But first, we need to find a shadow dial, I think is what it is. So the issue with this area is we cannot use our water, and there's so much backtracking because we have to use 2 charges to start the portal, 2 charges to finish the portal, and then we need to use 1 more to complete the puzzle. So we literally cannot use a single water in this entire fight, which is what makes Chopper very, very difficult in this area, because he likes to chase you, he likes to hit you, he likes to throw ranged attacks at you. He's not a good guy. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna wait to pause as long as I can to use the invisibility band. That is gonna make him lose aggro. And now we have to see what his RNG pattern is.
Trick.
We basically need to hit these lion eyes in a specific order.
Oh, nice trick.
He is really following me. That's not great. This area is different every time you go through it. Okay, I think I'm gonna get hit here, so I'm gonna use this lavender water. Okay, we're gonna get hit, but that's still a good move. You take damage by enemies even when they are not near you, which can be a little frustrating. Is he gonna hit or move? I think he's gonna hit. No, I guessed wrong.
You can't get away.
That is fine. Good thing we grabbed a bunch of lavender water. Again, normally I only have 1 lavender water. I don't want to catch. Normally I only have 1 lavender water and 1 invisibility band. So if this was an actual attempt, that would have been a dead run. But thankfully I picked up the safeties. Thank goodness I did that. Thank you, past me. And now we are going to be able to get out of here. So now that we have both of these stones that we need, we're actually going to be able to fight Corrode or Chopper. And Chopper actually kind of has the easiest fight because we have a very specific way of battling against him. It's going to also involve the use of our very first repellent arrow. Like I said, these are special arrows that you can only use 1 time. The thing about arrows in this game is the special ones is when you pick them up, it actually changes. You can't like just choose them whenever you want. You have to use them in the order you picked them up. So we actually set our route to pick up our special arrows in very specific orders so we can use them in the very specific way. So we're gonna put these 2 compasses in to the gravestone, and of course, what would this game be without another magical portal that teleports us to another point in space and time? So we end up in this cave. Very spooky, very ominous. But it's going to give us a couple of good things. It's going to give us the key item we need to defeat Chopper with, and it's also going to give us that arrow right there. That is a binding arrow. A binding arrow is a special arrow where it essentially acts as a fully 6 charged arrow. So you know that how I've been charging on my arrow to hit them, and that kind of locks them in place and kind of leashes them down. The binding arrow will basically just do that immediately. Also, this arrow we can't actually use. It's just a key item. Which I didn't know during my first playthrough, so I was like, oh, let me save all of my good arrows for the final boss and I'll use that golden one on the last one. Maybe it'll just kill him immediately. But no, the game was not that cool to do that. Now we just keep on running. I've never died here before. I'm sure one day it'll happen. I'll just get stuck on weird geometry that's never happened before, but we're okay for now. So this boss fight is going to be played in a very specific way, and pretty much all the rest of the bosses are going to be played in specific ones. This is where really a lot of like the skill comes in for players, and where it starts to be a little bit more specific with what your actions are. So first thing that we're going to do here is we're going to start this. This is going to begin the cutscene. Basically, we're going to hit him with a repellent arrow at a specific time to force him to do a specific attack. Hopefully I don't mess this up. There we go. Now he's gonna throw an arrow or an axe at us. That's gonna knock him down. Otherwise, he blocks our shots. But now we have him binded, and now we are good to go. He's gonna continue to be a jerk and try and throw things at us. It's actually kind of a good thing if he does. We want to basically kill him with the bind if we can. Oh, this is really bad. Okay.
Take this!
Okay. Nice. This should kill, or if it doesn't kill, he's going to be very, very close to death. But that fight went very well. If you mess up that first shot, this fight can take 2 or 3 more minutes longer because you can't hit him. You need to wait for him to do a specific throw attack, and sometimes he doesn't like to do it. Nice, and that is Chopper defeated. We have avenged our mother. And of course, what happens whenever we defeat a boss? They turn into a piece of jewelry. You'll love to see it. So now we're actually going to get introduced to Discount Ron Weasley. I mean Danny. Great character, love him. Very important in the cutscenes and acts as the comedic relief. For whatever reason, he is in this gameplay section for literally 40 seconds. Actually, I think a little bit less. I think actually 20 seconds. But there's Danny. Say hi, everyone. He's great. Discount Ron Weasley. I'm sorry. I was lying. Not 40 seconds. 20 seconds. And say goodbye to Danny. Or Dennis. I'm sorry. Not Danny. I usually call him Discount Ron Weasley. So yeah. Also, we're now in the hospital. Again, I don't know why, but you know, it's a early PS2 era survival horror game. You can't not have a spooky hospital level. It's kind of legally required. So, this is the Clock Tower game. You're probably wondering, where has Scissor Man been? You know, a very, very important feature. And you know, the big, brooding, hunched over maniac running around with a giant pair of scissors that everyone knows and loves. Well, good news. There's some good news. Scissor Man's in the game. We are now being attacked by Scissor Man. I want you to keep in mind that this is going to be Scissor Man. I'm not lying to you. That is their genuine name, is Scissor Man. First, we have to do a couple things. We basically have to find 3 key cards, and we have to also go to another dimension to find one of those key cards, because of course we do. Wouldn't it be a Clock Tower game if we didn't go through another portal to another world in order to find a simple item? Here we go. And that's Scissor Man, everyone. That's Scissor Man right there. They turned him into an evil clown. They literally made the Joker and Harley Quinn for this game. Because you're wondering, wait, that's Scissor Man. Then who is the other person? Oh, it's Scissor Woman. Oh no. There were 2 of them the whole time. So yeah, those are gonna be our 2 chasers. Now we have 2 of them at once. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna hit that seal, and what that's gonna do is we don't need the item that's in there. However, it's gonna unlock it in the other mirror direction, or the mirror dimension. See, if you can get to the door fast enough when they attack you, you actually won't take panic. It'll like get canceled out, but unfortunately we were not fast enough to get all of it canceled out, which is a shame, but should be okay. They're gonna get stuck here. We're gonna try and hit them through this doorway. See how it goes. Sometimes the auto lock is a little weird. Yeah. No, no slicing dice.
There you are.
We have an extra one. I'm gonna use it just in case. Like I said, angles in the camera are actually very, very important in this game. Also, I hope you like Scissor Man, because we really only run into him 2 single times in this entire run. And we catch him when he's opening that door. That's actually good RNG. Sometimes he comes out of another room. What ends up happening is you have to open the door yourself, and that's slow. So he was a nice guy. He helped us save about like 3 seconds. There we go. That is the final key card that we need. Now we have all 3.
Come on, Alyssa.
Let's see what you're doing here. There we go. That was pretty good. There we go. Labeled keys are used, and we are now out of the hospital. Also, Dennis has been kidnapped. Don't worry though, he's gonna be okay. We're gonna find him. But yeah, he has been kidnapped, and we learned that the entity that we are fighting against wants to basically eat Alyssa's heart in order to become immortal, because if you do if you complete a certain ritual where it involves that with a rooter, then you end up getting their powers and you can be immortal forever. Also, we see our grandfather chanting some weird stuff. I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure he had a very, very reasonable explanation as to why he killed our father all those years ago. Maybe he was the bad guy. You never know. You know, don't want to judge a book by its cover. Yeah, we're gonna continue on. We get a little jump scare from our boy Scissor Man. If you played the Clock Tower games, you know, looked exactly like the old Scissor Man. You know, they really had a key detail for that. They didn't radically redesign him whatsoever. Definitely wasn't what happened. But here we go. We are finally at the base of the clock tower, an hour in, and we have finally made it to the castle that has a clock tower connected to it in the game Clock Tower. We're not at the clock tower just yet. Don't worry, that'll come in eventually. But for now, we have to do some stuff. So we're going to take advantage of an evade point here to make this easier. We're going to hit our boy Scissor Man with that. We're gonna come over here and use this evade point, and basically what happens is unless it gets stuck there, Scissor Man charges at her and the floor breaks, but she catches the ledge and Scissor Man goes over the other side. Go. If you don't do that, this area becomes a lot harder because you need to save some of your water. And it's very easy to get panicked, and normally you don't have any items to remove panic, and it's a bit of a mess. So it's actually kind of possible, if you were not careful, to lose your run there, and that's like a big shame, because that's like one of the last like really hard parts before you lose a run, except for the final boss. Here we go. We're gonna grab another repellent arrow. And now we're gonna do a little bit of shuffling over this ledge. There is a ghost here. However, this ghost is pretty friendly. It won't really bug us too much, so that's something to be thankful for. Also, if any part of this game, especially this area, looks familiar, if you're a Capcom fan, these are gonna look like pretty familiar areas. A couple of reused assets here and there, especially, you know, if you played RE4, then you're really gonna notice this area. Especially the background with the trees and all that jazz. But yeah, also, if you're wondering, we needed to do all that stuff with Scissor Man on the other side of the castle just to realize that, hey, one of these bars is loose and we can get through it. She wasn't able to figure that out on her own. That was one of the sections that I really got stuck in. But yeah, so now we need to gather a bunch of crests. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna hit Scissor Woman right there. Grab this. Cool. Excuse me. So we're actually almost done with the subordinate chases. We don't really have too many more where we're gonna be like getting chased by Scissor Man or Scissor Woman or anybody else. So I hope you enjoy those little sections. They're actually really fun to do when you're speedrunning it because you have to have very good lines. It's kind of like a Resident Evil game in that regard. And of course, you get to hear all their amazing dialogue. And I just want to mention the Japanese version of this game also has some amazing voice acting in it. Definitely, like, they did a great job at like hitting that perfect like levels of like very campy and silly.
Slice and dice.
Yeah, Alyssa does a good job. Dennis does a good job. All of the enemies do a fantastic job, especially our grandfather, who at this point it is all but assumed that he is the entity trying to eat our heart and gain immortality. And the ritual requires a young woman on her 15th birthday in order to complete the ritual, and it's just about midnight, so it's very close to her birthday. So yeah, our beloved grandfather is not actually that good of a guy.
I'll kill you! Slice and...
There we go. That is the last water we are going to be throwing. Now all we have to do is just get to the end. Goodbye, Scissor Woman. So now we are in the office of this castle's owner, who is a Burroughs. And Burroughs is actually a really important name in Clock Tower. In fact, Alyssa is also an important name in Clock Tower because there's another protagonist from a Clock Tower game also called Alyssa, but it's a different character. I actually kind of like that detail because, you know, you never see that in media where characters have the same name like that, especially like, you know, in this case. But it's just pure coincidence between the Alyssas, and it's also pure coincidence between the Burroughs. In fact, they're actually spelled differently, so they're completely different families. I don't really know why they did that. I don't know if maybe originally this was supposed to be like a remake, or there was something else that was going on there, and at the end they just kind of changed their mind. But yeah, we are in the Burroughs Castle, and it turns out that the old Burroughs tried to do the same exact thing. Oh, whoops. Gotta go back over here. Lots of back and forth parts of this section. There we go. So we have a little hallway right here. This is actually a very dangerous hallway. If you get hit here, you die. Like, you just straight up, there is not even like a panic. You're just dead. And it's very scary going through this section if you're not careful, because you can actually time it right. If you come through this part really fast with like perfect movement. So we'll see if we get the good cycle. We did, but I'm not gonna risk it. Yeah, you don't have a very big window. If you are even 0.5 seconds off, you are in big trouble. So we're just gonna take it safe. We do have the sigil stone, so if we did get hit by one of those, the sigil stone would save us, but let's save that for in case we actually need it. So here we go. We're gonna find Dennis over here, our boy Dennis, who we all know and love. Also, don't worry about her walking into the wall right there. Dennis is not too good. He's in one of those like traps where it's a giant axe hanging over them that slowly gets lowered and lowered. Yeah, we find our grandfather's secret office again, which is exactly the same as his office in the castle. This guy has a really good interior designer, whoever like makes these for him. But here we go. We're gonna head back down into that little catacombs area, and now we're gonna be doing not one but two bosses in a row, back to back. We learned that our grandfather has been taken over by the original entity, the original Burroughs, all those years ago, and has merged himself to gain more power, and is overall just doing kind of, you know, bad guy things, and we need to stop him. But first we need to kill his subordinates, Scissor Man and Scissor Woman. Scissor Woman is gonna be up first. She is actually the most unique fight. She has a very small health bar. However, you do not auto lock to her. You have to aim manually, which is absolutely terrible. There's a reason that every other boss you auto lock onto, because it's not fun to have to manually aim. So hopefully this fight goes well. Hopefully nothing goes wrong. We're gonna be trying to hit her with 2 repellent arrows. So if we're lucky enough, that'll be the case. She has consistent spawns kind of, but not really. So haven't done this fight in a little while, but let's see how it goes. There she is, Jemima, Scissor Woman. Oh, we got the bad luck. All right, we just have to get hit by her. No, we didn't. Whew, I got scared. Okay, we're fine. That's Scissor Woman. Nice. She gave me a little bit of a panic, but that's okay. You know, that happens sometimes. And now we get to fight Scissor Man. Scissor Man has a kind of an interesting mechanic where if we parry him with our arrow when he's just about to attack us, we will only need 5 charges to bind him instead of 6 charges. So we try and do that. So we get stuck in this corner.
Come on and listen. Come on and listen.
Hit him with that one, and now it should be timed correctly that he hits us perfectly.
Let me go.
Okay, that's fine. Be a little bit slower. Oh, we might get an early bind here. Yeah, we're getting an early bind. That's fine. I will never get tired of seeing this cutscene. This cutscene is absolutely amazing. You just summon just this giant laser from the clouds. You can tell that this game's budget went into two things: the cutscenes and that animation right there.
Let me go!
Dodging that. Very important part is to remember exactly what the enemy patterns are. They all have very distinct audio cues, but I think this is going to be it for Ralph here. Oh, come back in front of me. Come back in front of me. And bye. And that is Scissor Man defeated. Scissor Man and Scissor Woman have been killed. Dennis has been saved, and now we are going to confront our grandfather slash the entity up at the top of the clock tower. We are finally going to the clock tower. An hour and 18 minutes in, we're finally going to see a clock tower in the game Clock Tower, guys. Are you guys excited? I know I am. Yeah, thankfully there is no chaser section tied to our grandfather, but our grandfather is the hardest fight. If you play this game casually, you know that the difficulty spike is just exponentially high for this final boss. Like the difference between Scissor Man and Scissor Man and Burrows is insanely high. So this is one of the hardest fights in the game. We've only used 3 repellent arrows, and I think we've only like missed maybe less than 5 in the entire game of these special arrows. Not a whole lot, actually, for a speed run. And it's still like going to be just barely enough to defeat him. And most casual players didn't realize that they needed to save their resources so hard. So a lot of people had very painful, sleepless nights of trying to defeat this guy. And it's still one of the hardest fights. And it's the only one that I would say in this game is an actual, like, you need like perfect movement the entire time. You need to dodge attacks. You need to do this in a very specific way. So hopefully this fight goes well. But here we go. We're in the clock tower. We're making our way through it. So there is an important aspect as to how we have been utilizing these arrows and picking them up, because again, we can't change the order that we use them in. It is just in the order that you pick them up. So we want to have our binding arrows, like for example, with a repellent arrow in between them for reasons that'll become apparent here in a few minutes. Gonna grab this arrow. Activate this lever that's gonna drop down this ladder, and now we are getting into the very last fight. So Burrows has a couple of unique things. The first thing is he can actually bind you. That's one thing. The second thing is if he grabs you with a melee, he will get much stronger. His powers will temporarily increase. They'll have wider range, do more damage. It's a bad time. So hopefully this goes well. Let's pray for good luck. And let's get this fight started. So the thing is about him, he has a lot of health bars. Normally we've only done 1 single charge to defeat the bosses. This is going to require 3. So Burrows are going down. First thing that we're going to do is we're going to bait out an attack right here. We hear that noise. 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to hit him just at the time of it. We're going to be dodging these left and right. If we get hit by those, it's a big problem because those are the binds. There we go. We're gonna shoot that arrow out. The first phase done. So he has a couple attacks. He can attack with a melee, he can swipe at you with a grab, and he can also summon a pool of blood out from underneath you that will slow you down.
There's no escape!
Okay, that's fine. 3, 4, 5. Hit him right there. You want him to do that purple attack. Nice. Gonna hit him with a repellent arrow. That's gonna let me hit him with a binding arrow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait for him to turn around. It's gonna knock him back a little bit further. That's fine. So this is gonna send him back towards us. We need to be a little bit careful here. We have plenty of arrows, but we want to do these binds correctly, because otherwise this fight gets a lot harder. We want to make sure we're also not going to get grabbed by him, because then he gets powered up, and that's something that I do not want to fight. Okay. Okay, he did like a good attack. Hit him with those, hit him with that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hit him in the middle. That's gonna let me bind him again. And he is not dead just yet, but we're almost done, folks. We are almost done. Arrow's gonna come down. The last laser beam of light coming from the skies to avenge our mother who was killed, to stop the evil bad guy, and one last arrow. And that is Burroughs. That was a very, very good fight, but we're not done yet. We need to get to our mother's corpse, which is now a statue. She's gonna give us the powers. We need to avoid getting hit by him. I have lost runs here before in the past, but that's not gonna ever happen again. Tip attack is here. And
no escape!
Time. Thank you so much for having me, everybody. It's been a wonder to run this game at Big Bad Game-a-thon. I love this game. It's so bad. And as you can see, this is how we're going to defeat him. We're going to use all of those lucky clovers we've gotten from the bosses that have turned into these pieces of jewelry to summon a magical sword. I'm pretty sure this game started out as a Devil May Cry spin-off. Look at that. And wait for it. That is our grandfather defeated. Alyssa has saved the world. And I just want to say thank you so much for having me. It's been a great fun to run this game at the marathon. If you're interested in finding more of my content, I don't really run these games too often very more, but I still speed run. Currently, I am focusing on games like Thief, the remake. I'm working on Mass Effect 2 and Control, so a lot of like modern, very cool games. And look at that. Reunited with our mother. How absolutely wonderful. So thank you everybody so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this run, and I'm gonna pass it off to the host. Good luck to the rest of the runners, and chat, have a wonderful day.